start-finish line. Then it's going to be a drag race to turn 1. There's going to be 2 starts. First set of boats you see coming up here, the Offshore Super Series Cat Outboards, which is exactly what they sound like. They're catamarans, outboard powered boats. They are not the inboards. Behind them, the second wave of boats, which actually looks like it's got a helicopter parade coming with it. So it has really changed the setup requirements for these guys for this particular race. Usually, they hit the green flag when they're up and running at about 3/4 of race speed. They are not going to do that this time. These guys are going to be starting very slow, and it's going to be who can get up on plane and take off and get going on that drag race down to turn 1. So here they come, helicopters in tow for the start of the second race of the Offshore Super Series season here in 2005. First time we've been to Lake Pickwick.
No, 5, 4, 3, no, green flag.
Shore side.
Good job.
Mojo in the center lane. Green flag. We have a green flag. Mercury gets a whole shot jumping from the outside. Team Mojo in the middle. Team 4 left. Here come the V-bottoms. They are going to do the same thing. They're going to force them to all get in the inside lane. Or they have to be outside of the pace boat, but they're all going to get in the line. They are not going to turn them loose until they're all in a straight line. If you've never followed Offshore Powerboat Racing, this is probably one of the cockiest bunch of racers out there. These guys are all good friends, but they are some of the biggest trash talking guys you'll ever find. Typhoon is one of the biggest trash talkers if you get on a boat like they're having to hit everybody else. How tight they chop the turns, or if they want to try to swing it wide. I can't wait to get another microphone up here for my colleague Charlie Heames, and he'll be going to give you some more insight, also a former racer. So our job here today is to try to put you in the cockpit so you know what's going on. Team Mojo making his way across. You get a chance to see from here how these tunnel boats run totally different than the V-bottoms that were coming up behind them. You can see right through the center of the tunnels, they are right on a cushion of air. That's what makes these catamarans fast. Excellent.
That's a good race right there now.
Here comes Team 4 on right now. They are ready. This is a grand circle for a while, so now they're actually running back some of the rights to Cox back by being in the lead. Second place looks like Pro Trans. Nope, actually that looks like Screaming Eagle. Screaming Eagle is a pair of F-16 fighter pilots. One of them's actually active duty. The other one actually currently flies, I believe, for Delta Airlines now as a commercial pilot. Whoa, that's a F-16 pilot! Pro Transportation, they are the first one. Keeps on the cars, number 5 in third place. And here comes number 10. All of these boats have the same engine, so they're all running the Mercury flashlight on television. Here they go, rounding turn 4 and turn 5. Team Mojo closely in tow, Bermuda Barracuda. They are really squaring that turn off a little tight, but let's see how tight they go as they hit the final turn. Helicopter in tow. I expect that Mojo's going to square that off. Here comes Bermuda Barracuda. He's trying to move to the inside. He grabbed the inside lane. He's now within the boat lane. Bermuda Barracuda now alongside Team Mojo. Now Mojo, by carrying the outside, was able to carry a little bit more speed, but Bermuda Barracuda, great racing in OSS Cat Light Outboard. On the back straightaway, it still looks like we have a dead heat going on in the OSS V lights. As Team 4 on makes their way across, rounding up, running right at about 90 miles an hour. These boats are up to 30 feet in length. They have minimum weight requirements, I believe it's 5,400 pounds, that they have to weigh completed at the end of a race. Single engine boats, single propellers. Oh, they had a boat spin out. They spin out, they got themselves back into the race. That is Pro Transportation. Went a little hard around the turn. Got themselves corrected. They are back around. What looks like what happened is they turned a little too sharp and caused them to miss that movie. They go back around. Wow, what a change. Those guys are probably winners from the previous race. They have now moved themselves back to 4th place. Here comes the wild card. Here comes see Jimbo Transportation. Those are the guys who just spun out over at turn 4. They are off the hitch right now. They didn't pass by Jimbo. Looks like they're hitched right into the hitch. Only a beak out front right there. Now, Bermuda Barracuda has an inside line. He is not going to be able to get pitched, but it's a good possibility he's going to push out to the outside.
You're right, Mark. He's pushing him out, but we may see Mojo come in on the inside. Here they go, jumping the boatway, trying to get that inside lane for this next turn. Barracuda seems to have a better line through this turn than Mojo has the last 2 laps, which is how they got past him going down this front straightaway. But you know what? Mojo may be backing off a little bit to kind of learn some of Barracuda's lines.
In racing, you want to learn your competitor's lines. It allows you to really gain a spot.
And the speeds are going to be in the 120s, 130s, and maybe 140s. You know, you can't make up that distance after getting a poor start. Some of the other courses maybe, but right here in Pickwick, you know, you can't make up that distance. What a perfect day for racing. It's beautiful out. You know what's neat is we've got a little bit of crosswind coming down this front straightaway here, and that's maybe making a little bit of a challenge kind of these car turns here. Still got team kind of moving out in front. He's able to pull away a little bit for the Screaming Eagle guys. These two guys, this is a second race. And everyone says he light class. Let me sit. These guys are taking over this motor and seeing how that motor dials in very, very well.
You know, Charlie, contrasting how they're running right now, notice the huge difference in the light and it's carrying the boat so much differently than they did the first race. So obviously, that time in the boat together and setup is making a big difference.
No, you're right, Mark. You know, third place with Wild Ride. Those guys were always in second place last year behind Wild Card. And you know, there's no way right now.
Has a tendency to break the ride off the back of the boat. They need to start taking on water. In a single engine boat, they also can't move anymore. The fact that they were moving leads me to believe that they didn't blow simply out of the boat. They were still able to run. They must have seen something in their gauges telling them, we got a problem.
Or they had a mechanical error which caused them to broke in the turn. You know, we won't know that till after the race. The leader here coming by an OSS Cat outboard from Bermuda Barracuda.
So John Boy and Billy up there?
There you go.
John Boy's here. He's out here. He's going to be joining us a little bit later. He's got his brand new boat. He just took delivery of the 32 Donkey. He's out here on the Lake Summit. These boats are running heavy right now because they're loaded with fuel. As they go through the race, they start burning off fuel. You might be really fast at the start of the race if you hit the throttle selection really good when you're loaded. All of a sudden, your boat starts getting lighter and faster. You start approaching the run limiter, and the guys behind you start telling you to go. All of a sudden, your speed energy again.
Well, exactly, Mark. Strategy is so critical in every one of the OSS classes because the competition is so tight. So, you know, those guys are trying to put a really set that boat on boat. You know, that's what always been a winner. Last year, and the first one for this year, they never made it to the winner's circle, but that boat has always won. And that used to be the stainless marine boat that Rich Bell had. I think he probably had 25, 30 wins in that boat. So that boat
Jimbo did not make the call this morning because of a cracked canopy that was discovered yesterday during testing. Here comes Team Bermuda Barracuda. They are the leaders right now in OSS Cat Outboard, followed by Team Mojo. Mojo is not dropping off at all, Charlie. I think they are keeping right with it striking now.
they're playing a cat and mouse game. I think they made
another Team Wild Card. Those guys are Jimbo transmissions. We got to get used to that. They call themselves either one. They went around that turn. They were in a strong third place. One little mistake, they instantly went back 200, 300 yards, put them in fourth place, and ultimately out of the race.
Martin, these guys, in both of these classes, they're going to run a full E.
We were talking about the canopy glass on the little WHM boat. One thing you notice about every boat in the Offshore Super Series is that they are all canopies. They are all sitting under a canopy. Of course, as we get going into the later days races here, a lot of these teams have their own helicopter that will shadow them for the entire race with their own rescue divers. Boy, Team Typhoon really hanging it out as they go around the turn. You see the boats slightly sideways. They have found the sweet spot that they're getting their way around the turn, but not giving up any ground. His team Screaming Eagle getting a little loose as they come by themselves, correcting it quickly. Right in behind Screaming Eagle, out of Canada.
Yeah, they've got that boat hooked up really, really nice. You know, Mark, having two pilots in that boat, I would assume those guys are so methodical in their abilities in that boat. They're going to make very few mistakes. So I would assume their lap time is going to be very consistent.
Absolutely. Here comes Team Wild Card, running in third place. Championship down in Key West, a 3-race event, best of 3 races.
Coming around the far turn here, we've got Bermuda Barracuda still out in front. It looks like they may have stretched that lead out a couple of more boat lengths, but you know what? We're only halfway through the race, and Mojo, those guys are good. You know, the driver of that boat is along with Grant Bruggeman. Grant's got a lot of experience in setting up boats. He's not only the throttle man, but he's also the crew chief. So I'm sure he hasn't let all the tricks out of the bag yet.
Well, we will see, but he certainly doesn't want
you couldn't ask for a better location. We're all very happy to be here at Pickwick.
Pickett, perfect lines, carrying around the turn beautifully. Now, of course, the advantage of being in clean water always makes a difference. These guys are in clean water all day long. In the lead right now in Offshore Super Series, Relive. Here comes the second place boat, Team Screaming Eagle.
But you know, Martin,
Matt Jones and Alan Campbell.
we got Team Barracuda right now. They are tracking right now. It may take them a little while to get live. And allow the Mojo boat to catch them maybe down one of the straightaways or through one of the turns.
Here comes our third place boat right now in Relive. That is Team Wild Ride. John and Larry Costelac making their way around.
You know, I'm looking at the fans in the crowd, Martin. I see a bunch of people sitting there drinking nice drinks out of coconut shells.
Team Info looks like they're coming into their development right now. And folks looking past Team Typhoon. Matt Reed is in the boat with George Aruma. I'll change that right now. Here you go, another opportunity to see the difference now. A V-bottom turns and a cat turns. Notice that V leans to the inside. Carves a turn. Whereas the catamaran right on those functions goes around fairly flat. Carries a lot of speed to the turn for getting very good. But look at the way that the line from Team Mojo is perfect right now. They are actually coming a little bit off, and they're gaining the distance up very good every round.
He must have gained about 5 boat lengths on Bermuda Barracuda on that last lap. You know what? Barracuda is saying that you're not going down the first straightaway. You gotta be running 110, 115 mile an hour with the wind.
Absolutely, and of course going into the wind they run a little bit faster because they're able to get more air under that tunnel. That's your third place boat right now in OSS V-Light. That's Team Wild Ride. Currently running in third place in OSS Cat Outboard.